All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So sorry about the network. It was just network issues that delayed us. So please confirm that you can hear me and that you can hear me clearly and you can see what I'm presenting on the screen. All right, thank you so much. So welcome everyone. Kola Wale Sheyi, Alu, Ugochukwu, Ijoma Ruth. You're all welcome to this session while we wait for others to join us. So, my name is David. I'm a data analyst and a speaker and a consultant. I'm also a data analytics trainer, and I've worked in the data analytics space for around 3, 4 years now. And this evening, I'm just going to be putting you through the essential skills that I feel are required for every data analyst. And most times when we talk about data analyst, a lot of people feel like, oh, it's a very vague term. What is a data analyst? Who is a data analyst? What do we mean? What do we mean by that? Sorry, I'm getting a request to admit someone. So just give me a minute. Right. And once we kind of understand the meaning of the word data analyst, the role, the who, we can then define what they are supposed to bring to the table. So once again, welcome everyone, and sorry once again for the downtime earlier. Now, the first thing you would see is the introduction. The introduction is basically talking about the analyst. A data analyst transforms raw data into insights that drive better decisions. Now, that is a whole lot of English. Basically, you and everyone else you probably know is a data analyst or have used data in one way or the other. So I'm just going to put it to you in this way. You're traveling from, let's say you go to work at Ikeja and you're going from maybe Ojota or Shodi or wherever you're living, like you're trying to get to work. Now, you have a particular route that you would typically go through. You have a particular route that you would typically go through to get to work, but you always know that that route is kind of always clogged. Is that either there's a traffic or there's always something every day you take that route. And you know, like you won't be able to meet up on time. So you decide to take an alternate route. In that moment, you've decided or you're making a decision, a data driven decision, because the data is the historical evidence that you have or have had previously. Now, in our day-to-day lives, we all use data in some way. It's not always going to be, oh, somebody sitting in front of a laptop or a computer to crunch numbers in Excel. That's not what a data analyst is or does. It's using data to make informed decisions or using the available data to make informed decisions. Now, in the corporate space, what do data analysts do? They ask business questions, they collect and clean data, they analyze trends and patterns, and they create dashboards and reports, and they recommend actions. So everyday example would be tracking your monthly expense. Like I said, every other person is a data analyst because you spend money, you earn a salary, you run business, you do some operations of some kind, and at the end of the day, you're asking yourself, "Oh, where did my money go?" When you sit down to calculate, when you sit down to put all of that into perspective, you actually figure out that what you're trying to do or what you're doing at that moment is actually a bit of analysis. Now, moving on to the next thing because we have a lot to cover, and I just want to be done so that you guys can the floor will be open for you guys to ask your questions and we can proceed from there. Now, the next thing is finding your anchor. Everybody has a unique skill set, right? A lot of persons tell me, oh, I'm a teacher, I'm a business person, I don't have experience. How do I get into this tech of a thing? Where do I start? Now, I always say this, that every time you want to probably start a tech role, you would probably say, oh, maybe I've worked as a lab assistant. There is no correlation, but there actually is. If you look at it, you would see that where you're coming from is your domain knowledge, is your domain experience. And in analytics, there's a wide range of applications. I've worked in ESG roles. ESG roles are environmental, social, and governance roles. I've worked in ESG roles. I've worked in fintech. I've worked in different spaces within the analytics field. So analytics is not just boiled down to data analysts. There was a role I went to apply for. I didn't know that there was something called ESG analytics when I went to apply for that role and when I got the job eventually. So there are various parts, and once you see that your domain is not a hindrance, you will know how easy it is to transform or to switch careers basically. So whether you're coming from academics, you're coming from business, you're coming from consulting, there is always a space in the analytics world for you. Now, the questions you would need to ask yourself is, what do I enjoy doing? Do I enjoy reporting? Do I enjoy solving business problems? Do I enjoy coding? Do I enjoy statistics? A lot of people tell me, I don't like statistics. I don't want to do statistics. But you would understand where you fit in. Now, it should anchor around your strengths, your interests, and your career goals. Stop trying to learn everything and master one thing first. We're still going to get to the technical tools. Like I said, I don't want to waste much of our time so that we can get into asking questions. Now, the technical core. Most times when we talk about or hear about data analyst, we always think that this is what the data analyst is. Excel, SQL, Power BI, whatever tools that they use, that's what we call a data analyst. But these are what we call your tech stack, right? When we talk about tech stack, we mean that all the technological tools that you use. So Excel is very, very important for every data analyst. And the concepts you must understand are your pivot tables, XLOOKUP. There are a lot of host of other things that I couldn't crunch into this slide. But these three are very fundamental. Understanding pivot table, understanding XLOOKUP, because XLOOKUP covers for a whole lot of other functions. There are 1,001 functions, right? And Power Query. Power Query basically helps you in your ETL process. When we talk about ETL process, we're talking about extraction, transformation, and loading of data. And SQL, SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Basically, it's the language of database. Every time you hear the word database, SQL is somehow involved, right? SQL is like how you speak to your data container to extract, to impute information, right? So you need to learn this foundational concept. Then the third thing is a visualization tool. A visualization tool like Power BI, it could be Power BI, it could be Tableau. Then some people would love to also add a bit of coding, that's for statistics using tools like Python. But these three I feel are like the fundamentals, because especially working in Nigeria, few companies actually involve the use of Python in their data analytics. Most companies run on Excel, on their Google environment, on SQL, and a bit of visualization with Power BI. I think the last role I worked at, they used their a Google environment as well. So we had to do visualizations in Google Studio, which is Looker. So once you have your Excel knowledge, your database knowledge, and your visualization knowledge, you'll have a strong technical core that you can now obviously keep adding on top of that. Now, the next things are the soft skills. This is where a lot of people miss it. I'm the kind of person who loves attending interviews. I've had interviews with AXA Mansard, I've had interviews with UBA, I've had interviews from EdTech consulting to banking to finance. I've had interviews in a lot of sessions, right? And one thing I'll tell you is that most people would focus on the technical part of the interview, which is foundational. You need to know your technical side, right? But the soft skills are very, very, very important. They cannot be understated. Your communication, your critical thinking. Somebody puts you on the spot with a question you've never thought about before. How do you respond? How do you kind of tackle that? Right? Those are the things that we talk about when we talk about soft skills. I went for an interview recently, and the director was speaking to me, and he said, "What can the average analyst today give me that ChatGPT or Claude or Grok cannot provide for me?" And in the beginning, I was kind of stunned because I know he's a well learned and traveled person, so I know he has a lot of experience, right? So thought about the question, then I began answering him. I said, yes, ChatGPT can, Claude can do a lot of analytics. They can do a lot of tasks that would take analyst hours to achieve. But the edge is business knowledge, domain understanding, and basically understanding problems from a particular angle, right? If you're a marketing analyst and you're seeing that, let's say you're losing money on some certain ads, your click-through rate is dropping drastically. Now, if you carry that data and just plug it into any AI tool, it will tell you, oh, here's how to optimize the ad, or here's how to do this, or here's how to do that. But if you look at things from a human standpoint, you might see a different angle to it that the AI would never factor in. Let's say, for example, somebody who ran an ad today, which is public holiday, and someone who ran an ad on a work day, and they're having vastly different results, right? Because today a lot of people are home and they are with their phones, they are interacting and all that, they are bumping through ads and they are interested, right? So you have a higher click-through rate on a day like this than on a conventional work day, because people are working, they're at the office, they have barely have time to do all of that. So those are the little knowledges that, or domain knowledge or business understanding, that your AI tool wouldn't typically have. Yes, they do a lot. They do a lot. We'll still also touch on the use of AI. Now, the interview edge, how do you stand out? What recruiters look for are projects, business thinking, communication, confidence, problem solving. And the winning formula is having your skills, your portfolio, and being able to tell a story. Like I said, you can cross over from any domain. You don't have to be study computer science or study computer engineering before you say I want to get started in data analytics, right? You can cross over from anywhere. And once you kind of understand your strengths, I know as a person that, oh, I'm a very confident speaker, I'm a clear communicator, and I can speak very well. Once I understand that and I understand what the business needs, I can sell what I can offer. I can sell you solutions. That's your interview edge. Before you go for any interview, you have your technical skills covered, you have your projects covered. Now it's for you to explain, this is what I feel your business needs at this moment. This is how I can help you. This is the solution I can bring to you, right? That's for what you bring to the interview. Once you sort that out, you're basically hired. And the thing about the analytics market in Nigeria right now is that it's more of a thing where most times you're going to get into some contract roles, some part-time roles. It's not always, because most companies cannot afford right now to hire a full in-house data analyst. That's just the truth. So you might work based on gigs, you might work based on contracts, you might work based on. But if you understand that this business has this problem and this is what I can do, this is how I provide solutions, this is how I solve this crisis for you. No business loves losing money. That's the core of every business. Profit, revenue, That's all they yap about. But if you can understand that and prefer solutions to in that line, then you're definitely going to be an asset. I had an interview 2 weeks ago. I'm always saying I have an interview because even when I have a job, I always take interviews because it always keeps me up to date with the current trend. So even if I have a job, I'll still take interviews when I can because it always keeps me fresh. Now, that interview on that day was just the first day of the interview, right? On the first day of the interview, we had an hour-long discussion, asked me about my background, where you're coming from, blah blah blah. The general questions they asking, they were not asking anything technical for the first 30 minutes. Then they got into the technical stuff. But because of the way I had carried myself for the first 30 minutes, they didn't necessarily focus on the technical side of that job. By the time we were halfway done, they were already telling me, oh, the HR will send you an offer. For the first interview, the first time they're hearing from me after seeing my CV, right? So a couple of times, like I said, technical skills will work, but knowing how to convey, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to carry yourself will do a lot of good for you. Now, we're here, the AI augmented analyst. Now, AI is doing a lot in the data analytics space, from automations to prompting. Like, there's a lot AI can do for you. A lot of times you will spend hours doing repetitive tasks, but now AI can automate. We have, even in SQL, we have your SQL agents that can automate report generation, that can automate data cleaning processes for you. So AI is not here to replace you if you understand business context, stakeholder management, decision making, and strategic thinking. There's no AI that will tell your boss, oh, this is blah, 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 that will communicate that. It is you that would take that result and say, this is what I feel we should do. This is how we make recommendations. This is the next strategic step. This is the insights that we have, right? But AI can help you make your work a lot faster, a lot easier, a lot smoother. So don't compete with AI. Just learn to work with it. Now, there's a course on AI. It's about like an hour course where it will basically walk you through how you can augment AI into your everyday routine, right? You're using AI, you're doing this and you're doing that, you're doing that. Your processes that will take you hours and hours. There was a project I worked on where I had to work with the PDF documents. And if you know, PDF documents are very difficult to work on. and I had to work on a PDF document from it was a financial statement for 1 year. Now, it took me around a month to clean up that PDF document to a point where I could use it to prepare a report for this HR firm. It was a consulting firm. Now, at the end of preparing the report, the person was very appreciative, like, wow, you were eventually able to do this, blah, blah, blah. But it took a lot of time that I would have used to work on other projects to be able to get that done. So if I had involved AI earlier in that process, I would have gotten that done in probably reduce that 1 month to 2 weeks or even a week, right? So the future belongs to analysts who combine data plus business plus AI. Now, there's a Japanese concept called Aikigai. It's basically, if you remember sets in mathematics when you were in secondary school, sets, it's basically where your successful career sits at. It sits at the intersection of your passion. What do you like doing? A lot of people here are like, oh, I like sports. Sports is my passion. Yes, they are sports scientists and basically they work with data. I wish that I could have tagged. There's a video that Man United released about how they are able to track their players, how they're able to track performances, how they're able to track player load. And if you watch that video very well, you would actually realize that data is in everything. Sports science, I worked on a project recently for a company in Oshodi here in Lagos, and they do loss adjustment. I never knew what loss adjustment was till I got that project. Now, when I got that project, I started working. I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I had to go and learn about the business after I got the project. So there is a lot of embedded data analytics in different sectors. So if you're thinking about, oh, I have a passion, but I don't think data analytics will thrive in that passion, it does thrive in that passion. It does thrive in that passion. So your passion, your profession, your vocation, what the market needs, irrespective of what you do. If you're selling akara and the market does not want to eat akara, you cannot force people and say you must eat akara. You have to look at what the market wants and how you can fit yourself into that part, right? No need to complicate things. People like complicating things. You need to be able to explain difficult concepts easily for anybody to understand, right? So that's how you position yourself. You position yourself where you're passionate, what the market wants, your profession. This is a career path that I feel like I can go on, right? So once you get this intersection right, Aikiga is where you find your strength. You don't want to be doing a 9 to 5 and you're frustrated. You don't want to be working and you can't. Maybe there could probably be enough money, but you're not even happy. You're not fulfilled. You're not. A lot of people will say, "Don't worry, let the money come. Let the money come." It really takes a toll on you when you're working and you're not happy with what you're doing, or you're not happy with your life in general, right? The money can come, you can pay your bills and sort a lot of things, but you need to find that balance between passion, purpose, profession, vocation, mission, and what the world needs. Now, in the next 2 minutes, okay, conclusions. The most successful data analysts are not those who know the most tools. Like I said earlier, technical parts are very important, but they are those who solve the most valuable problems. So, thank you once again. My name is David, and that's my LinkedIn handle. So now the floor is open. Anyone with any questions, any interests can come up now and just make your point. The floor is open.
Good evening, Mr. Day.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hmm. Wow, wow. That's actually very impressive. 7 years in finance, if I heard you correctly, and blockchain. We all know that Web3 blockchain is the future, right? So I feel like you are at the very important point, like at a very important section of where the world is going towards. And data is also a very important concept in blockchain, because if you look at markets generally, predictive markets, whatever they do within the maybe Web3 space, there's a lot of prediction or data usage that goes into how we optimize for the future. Now, you have financial knowledge, very important. You have blockchain knowledge, very important. Now, if you can intersect or join the two of them together, financial analysis, blockchain experts, you're basically going to fly. You're basically going to fly, especially looking at the trend and the way the world is definitely going now. That's a very good place. But one thing I would advise is you get your foundations. If you're going to still take the data route, get a solid foundation in data, right? Get a solid foundation in data, because if you have the foundations, tools, technologies change, right? Everything you can. I worked with a couple of firms that they use tools that I've never used before, but I had solid foundations in a way that I was able to work with tools I had never used. I just saw it for the first time, and within a couple of weeks, I was using the tools comfortably because I had solid foundations. So, first things first is not to, I would suggest you get solid foundations in data, understand how data relates to blockchain. You obviously know how data relates in the financial markets, right? Since you've been there for a while. But to find that sweet spot, that intersection, you have to basically have a solid foundation, then build a business, build a brand around all the knowledges and how you can merge them together. I'm not a blockchain expert, I'm not a financial expert, and I've not had as much years in finance as you have. So my own advice would be basically build a solid foundation in data, because it will take you across all the spheres of what you want to do. So you can ask other questions if you have. The floor is still open. All right, Ijoma Roots, go ahead. Ijoma Roots, you can go on. Good evening. Yeah. All right, thank you so much. So that's why Kedar Analytics is here for you. You're bringing me to my point. Now, for Kedar Analytics, we are focusing on you, and we are making sure that you have the right foundations. We are focusing on you as a person. A lot of times, people want to learn skills and they go to tech schools, and the tech school is looking for 3 months. In 3 months, you are done. Come and be going. They don't care if you have sound enough knowledge, you are half baked, you are properly cooked, you are half done. They don't care. For somebody who is looking to start out as a beginner, we have people who we train at night class. We know people are busy with life. There are people who work morning to 9 to 5. There are people who work weekends. There are people who work. So we always have a class that will fit your priority, that will fit you. If you want your classes on Sundays, fine. If you want your classes on Saturdays, fine. If you want your classes 1 a.m. in the night, fine. 12 midnight, fine. 3 a.m., fine. Whenever you want your class, and you have created a structure that, oh, this is when it will be convenient for me, then we build a system that in this amount of time, number one, you will have enough foundational knowledge. Number two, you would have structure. Number three, you would have projects. Number four, you would have supervision. And number five, you would have portfolio. So at the end of your session, you're not just saying, I can use Excel. You can show people what you did in Excel. Oh, I can use Power BI. You can show projects you've completed. I have done this and this. If you need help at 1 a.m., there's somebody you can talk to. If you need help 2 a.m., oh, there's this problem that I'm working on. I don't know. There's like, I've tried this, I've tried that. There's a help for you. So Kedar Analytics provides that structured, where you have somebody who is always going to be with you, and You're going to have not just the one you will do 2 months data analysis class, and at the end you're like, I don't know anything, I still don't know anything. So if that's the option you want to take, right, and you want to go on with the program, just send a message to the platform, the WhatsApp group. Is there anybody here that's not on the WhatsApp group? So just send a message to the WhatsApp group. Maybe you just say hi or hello or interested. The admin will reach out to you and they will get your details, they will get your schedule, and they will plan a course that is very structured around your schedule. So if that's something that makes sense, Ijoma, I hope I've answered your question. Go on, go on. Yes, it's essential. It's not like it's a must. It is essential. Now, the reason why they are saying it requires a laptop is you want to have, if you go to work in corporates, you're not going to be doing data analysis on your phone. So you want to have that familiarity with your environment before you are saying, oh, deploy, deploy, let's go, let's go, let's go. Right? It's like somebody saying, I've only ridden bicycle, but I can drive bike. Yes, they might look the same, but when the interface opens up, it's a different ball game. So while you can do learn on your phone, you can have your materials on your phone. We want you to be hands-on. We want you to practice. As you are doing, they are correcting you. Do this, do that. As you're doing, you're being corrected. So Kevin Williams, Ijoma Ruth, have I answered your question? All right, thank you so much. So Kevin Williams, you can go on, shoot. Okay. Okay. Wow. Mm, yes. Yes. Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. I get you perfectly. Okay. Mm, mm, okay. All right. Thank you so much, Kevin. So I'll answer your second question first, then I'll answer your first question second. Sorry for that. So firstly, if you want to get started in data analytics, number one, you have to be willing. I know sometimes all these advertisements make everything look easy. It'll be like become a data analyst in 1 week. How you want to do it now? Become a data analyst in 3 days. It's not fasting and prayer now, right? So you have to be willing, number one, to put in the work, because if that's where structure comes in. When I was explaining to Ijoma Ruth about having a structure, you have an expectation in mind. I want to get this knowledge. I want to be able to do this in 3 months or in 4 months, right? Now, when you have that structure, you have something you are working towards. It's like a savings. You are putting 10,000 every day so that I'll buy a G wagon at the end of the year, right? Now, once you have structure, you have your tools like your laptop, you have power. You can learn virtually. I teach virtually. I'm teaching somebody in what do they call it now? In Saudi. Yeah, I think it's in UAE to be precise. I'm teaching somebody in UAE. He's a lawyer in UAE. He's in UAE at the moment, and I'm tutoring him from Nigeria in UAE. So he's learning from his own at his own convenience, and he's also learning at his own time zone difference and all that. So once you have in mind that, oh, I want to learn this and I will stay to learn it, I will show up every day to learn. It's not easy. That's why we have structure. That's why we have people who will check up on you and see how you're doing. You have projects, you have things that you're supposed to deliver, right? So once you, all we need is for you to say, I am ready. Once you say you are ready, we are ready to be ready with you. Now, for your second question, you spoke about having tons of experience in different sections and different domains. It is very, very important. All of your experience is unique and it's important. Imagine, let's use this case study. Imagine somebody started learning data analysis today, and let's say at the end of 6 months or 1 year, they've completed tons of projects, they have a lot of experience in building, blah, blah, blah. If I come to Kolawale's space, I cannot be a financial analyst when Kolawole is there, because Kolawole will show me something that I don't understand. Yes, I'm a data analyst, yes, but the domain knowledge he has, I don't have it. If I go to a marketing space, somebody is talking about what's the CTR, what's the click-through rate, what's the blah blah blah, how do we reduce our CACR? I will just be looking because I don't have that domain knowledge. I'm not a marketing person, right? The same thing if I come to HSC, how many incidents do we have today? How many incidents do we, how do we record this? What's our lost man hours? I can't relate because it's not my domain, right? So your domain is your superpower. You're coming to add data analysis on top of your domain. You're not throwing away what you know. Now, data analysis is important. Like you said, you submit a lot of reports and all that. It is very important. The last gig I did was also about people who were doing reports. So it's important that you can communicate numbers. So when you're presenting your report, it's not just table, table, table. You can show trend movement, price movement, volatility. You can show those changes in visual representations, right? So it's very important, like you said. But like you also said, data analysis would actually help you to communicate it clearly. Because when you just put tables, some people cannot read or relate to tables. But if you visualize it, they can say, oh, it was higher this month, we're down now. Sales is growing, but we're dipping here. Like people can relate to pictures more than words. If I say apple, you're thinking about the fruits in you, you're seeing the picture of the fruit, not the word. So it's easier to convey information using visualization. So that's been my. So Kevin, you still have more questions. Let's go. All right, thank you so much. I hope you are like you're cleared on that. Perfect, perfect. So is there any more questions? Alu, Ugochukwu, Mark John, it seems you came a bit late. We're already done with the presentation before you kind of joined us. So if you have anything to say, the floor is open. Oh, oh, okay, okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mark John, anything to say? All right. I hope you were able to at least get some part of what the presentation was about. So we'll try and get the presentations to be kind of a consistent thing. If there's a way to what? I didn't get you. I didn't get you. Your network is breaking up. Please come again, Mr. Mark. Seems like the network is a bit wonky. Mr. Mark, I didn't get your question. Okay, we've lost him. So if there are any other questions, if you're on the WhatsApp group, just drop it on the WhatsApp group or just send a DM to get clarity. And if you're interested in joining any of the sessions, like I said, we are going to tailor it to you. Night class, fine. Weekend class, fine. Saturday, fine. Sunday, fine. At the end of the day, we want you to be better when you're done than when you started. We want you to be able to take on tasks and take on projects and not be scared. So that's the bottom line. That's the crux of the whole matter. So, in the absence of any other question, I think we'll call it a day. So, thank you to everyone who has joined in. What's the cost of the training? Kolawole, can you send a DM? Can you send a DM now? All right, please do that because we have to work with your schedule. We have to plan around you. That's why it's not like a fixed cost. Because if you're training somebody around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., it's different from when you're training them at daytime or when you're training them, like there are differences there. So we have to do that. So just send a DM now, and if you have your schedule, if you have a time that is convenient for you, you can just add that to that DM and we'll work something out for you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So thank you, Joma. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Gochuku. Thank you, Kola Wale. And like I was saying, we'll try as much as possible to make the webinars a bit more frequent. If it's something you guys would be interested in, something like every Friday or twice, once in 2 weeks or once a month, something that will just come and give you basically an update on what's going on in the industry, how to get in, how to get started, how to grow, how to show value, how to take the knowledge you have and apply it to work, how to improve, how to speak, how to present. Because, like I touched on, hard skills, soft skills. So, if it's something that you guys would be interested in, as we kind of build out the community, add more people to the group, and basically bring in more tools that will help us. So, no problems, no problems. So, Kevin, I see your message, no problems. So, any other schedule, just stay on the group, stay on the WhatsApp group. Any other programs will be added. You will be up to date. You'll be up to date. So thank you so much to everyone for joining in. Enjoy your weekend. I know the weekend started early for 9 to 5 people. So enjoy your weekend and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.